What's up? What it do? How you doing? I am back with another video. Today, EandE family, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious red velvet cake with cream cheese frosting. Okay, so we're going to get started. This starts with 2 sticks of room temperature butter. To that, we are going to add 2 cups of granulated sugar. Or a little bit more. That's why you should probably pour it in a separate bowl before you pour it in here so you don't do stuff like that. That's okay though. Okay, so we're going to turn our mixer on. We're going to let this go for about 2 minutes. We want our butter and our sugar to cream together until it's light and fluffy. And then we're going to check it at the 2-minute mark, scrape down the sides of our bowls, and if we need to go a little longer, we'll do that. So about 2 minutes on this butter and sugar.
And this is General Chang.
Okay, so next we're going to add in our eggs, and we're going to add them in one at a time. It's going to be 2 eggs we're going to add, and of course, as always, if you don't feel comfortable cracking your egg over the bowl, you see what happened with the sugar. Go ahead and crack them in a separate bowl and add them in one at a time. So we're going to let this mix in for about a minute. We want to make sure that our eggs are well incorporated into the batter. Okay, next we're going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla. And don't worry about that, that's just the cocoa powder that I measured out for our cake. So a tablespoon of vanilla, or a little more. Y'all know I like a good vanilla flavor. So we're going to get that incorporated. Okay, so next we have our dry ingredients. So we got 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt. We have 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And I've already sifted my 2 cups. And then to my last cup of flour, I added the remaining dry ingredients so that we can sift them through. So let's get that, finish sifting that. And you can also use cake flour for this. I don't have any cake flour on hand. I don't have cake flour most of the time, which is why I sift my flour quite a bit. What you should do anyway if you're baking, so that you avoid any lumps, clumps, or bumps, any imperfections in your dry ingredients. Okay, just gonna get that through there like that, and that's just our salt. Okay, so we're going to get this, our dry ingredients, added. You can alternate dry and wet. I'm not doing that today, but you can definitely alternate the dry and the wet. I am going to gradually add our buttermilk in. This is a cup of buttermilk while this mixes. So start this off slow because this flour will come flying out your bowl. Start it up slow and gradually add in your cup of buttermilk. Okay, so I don't know if everyone's seen that, but buttermilk came flying out everywhere at me. That's why I don't wear good clothes when I'm doing anything cooking related. I do not wear my good clothes. So next, we're going to add a cup of vegetable oil. That's a cup. And then we have our red food coloring. You can use the, you can go to the grocery store, buy these. You can also go to your local cake store where you would buy like your specialty cake pans, your cupcake holders, your boxes to put cakes in. They also sell food coloring. They sell it in a gel form, liquid, and they sell it in a powder form. I just opted to go to the grocery store and get the normal food coloring packet. So I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to add the entire bottle of food coloring. Okay. And we're going to add in our vegetable oil. Okay. Now let's get that mixed in. And we are definitely starting this up slow so it doesn't explode on me. Okay, we don't want to overmix because it will cause for a tough cake. Now I already have a pan that's already been oiled and floured. This is a 9x13 baking pan. You can also use a 2 round cake pans. You can also turn these into cupcakes. They'll make about 12, maybe 14 cupcakes if you're making cupcakes out of them. Depends on how big or how small you're making your cupcakes. If you're making minis, you'll get way more out of that than 12. But that's something that you can do, decorate them really cute. Okay. Let's get our bowl off the mixer. And I just like to take my spatula and get down in there on the bottom just to make sure that we got everything well incorporated before we put it into our baking pan. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off of here real quick. To give a better view. Okay, and if you prefer a different color red, you can add as much food coloring as you want, as least amount of food coloring as you want. This is just, I just chose to use 1 bottle. So that's up to you depending, the color that you want or that you may need. So we're gonna get this into our pan. Okay, now we wanna make sure everything is even in our pan. So we're just gonna spread the batter out like this. Make sure we have an even layer. We don't want it to be lopsided, more batter on one side than the other. To avoid that, I simply do a shake like this. And then, so that we don't have any air bubbles in our cake, I do like that. Oops. And it should be pretty even. So we're gonna bake this in a 350-degree oven until the toothpick in the center comes out clean. And when I come back, I'm gonna show you how to make a cream cheese frosting to go on top of this cake. Y'all don't go nowhere. Okay, so we're gonna get started on our cream cheese frosting. Let me plug my mixer back up. In my bowl, I have 1 package of softened room temperature cream cheese and 1 stick of softened room temperature butter. I'm using my whisk attachment. You can use your paddle attachment, but I like the way the whisk makes it light and fluffy, the frosting light and fluffy. So let's get that mixed, whipped before we add any of the rest of our ingredients. And start it up slow. Okay, let's check the size of our bow. And then see how we have like some butter in there. You'll want to stop your mixer. You could also do this by hand as well with a hand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, or if you don't feel like pulling your stand mixer out. Let's just scrape down our sides really quick. We just want to make sure everything has been well incorporated and there's like no chunks or pieces of cream cheese or butter. Okay. So we're going to turn this back on for a second just to make sure we have everything smoothed out. Okay, so now we're going to incorporate some powdered sugar. The amount of powdered sugar you put in here totally depends on how sweet you like your frosting. You could do 1 cup, you could do 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups. It really just depends on your taste buds. I'm going to start with 3 cups, taste, and then see if I need to come back and add any more. I'm just eyeballing this, but you can pull out your measuring cup. I've made it so many times. Okay, let's get that incorporated and just make sure you definitely start this up slow, because powdered sugar will, you already know. Okay, let's stop. Scrape down the sides of our bowl because we have powdered sugar that's climbed up the sides. Okay. And let's give it another mix. Okay, let's give it a taste. So add a little more powdered sugar. And I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm eyeballing this too, but it would be a teaspoon. Okay, let's mix that. Okay. We also want to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add a drizzle of milk. All these ingredients are room temperature. Okay. Putting our mixer back on. Okay, let's get in here with our spatula just to see. Oh yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to give it one more go around with the in the mixer here and add just a pinch more milk. So I would say that was about maybe a tablespoon of milk. Let's give it one more go around just to make sure that everything is smoothed out and there's no lumps, clumps, or bumps in here. Okay, let's give it another taste. Perfect. This is the consistency you want your frosting. This right here. That's the consistency that you want your frosting. You can use this as a piping frosting, You can put it on with a butter knife, an offset spatula, whatever you choose. However you choose to put your frosting on is completely up to you. So once our cake is done, I'm going to check it. And we've let it cool for a little bit. We're going to add our frosting. We are going to taste a piece of this absolutely delicious red velvet cake. Y'all don't go nowhere. So our cake is now complete. And this is what it looks like in the pan. And I had to cut a piece out for a picture for my thumbnail. This is what our cutout piece looks like. Y'all. If you don't like the color that it is, if you prefer it to be a little more red, you could cut back on one of the tablespoons of cocoa powder, but why would you? I mean, let's go ahead and get a taste of this, okay? Oh my goodness, yeah. Yep. I'm gonna say it. It's amazing. That cream cheese frosting is paired perfectly with this cake. You could do a just a regular buttercream frosting if you don't like the cream cheese frosting. Cream cheese frosting sets this off. This is absolutely delicious. You have to make this for your family or your friends or your next work function or potluck you have. Make this. You will definitely be a hit wherever you take this cake. And that's it for today, EandE family. Like, share, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified when a new video is uploaded. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the description box below for all the ones that actually watch my videos to the end. They actually take the time to like and subscribe to the channel. You guys rock. Thank you so much for your continued support. And I hope that you continue to watch me. As always, EandE family, don't forget to live a little and love a lot. It will be easy.
This is General Chang.